You start to take all that effort you wasted on proving yourself to others and reinvest it into building yourself. Instead of explaining yourself to people who don't care, you use that energy to create, to grow, to heal, to grow. Instead of chasing someone who doesn't see your worth, you use that energy to see yourself more clearly. That's where the transformation happens. That's when you stop feeling drained and start feeling empowered. Because the truth is, the love you've been begging for from others is the love you were meant to give yourself first. The validation you were seeking outside of you is the validation you were meant to feel within. And when you withdraw, when you stop begging, when you stop overgiving, you finally hear your own voice again. Let me tell you this: your silence is not weakness. Your withdrawal is not defeat. It is the highest form of strength. It is the highest form of strength. It is a proof that you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. Because when you stop showing up where you are not valued, you create space for the places and people that will. Do not confuse presence with importance. Just because someone is around does not mean they add value. Just because you have history with someone does not mean they deserve a future with you. And just because you feel deeply for someone does not mean they are capable of meeting you at the same depth. That is the harsh truth we often avoid facing. But when you withdraw, you see it clearly. You see who comes closer when you step back. You see who notices your silence. You see who respects the boundaries you set. And you also see who was only there because of your effort, who disappears the moment you stop carrying the relationship on your back. And clarity is freedom. Withdrawal is not about punishing others. It's about protecting yourself. It's about saying, I choose me this time. It's about acknowledging that your energy is precious and not everyone has it. Because at the end of the day, your peace is worth more than their attention. When you finally learn this, you stop chasing closure. You stop begging for apologies. You stop waiting for people to suddenly wake up and see your value. Because you realize you don't need them to realize you don't need them to. You already know your worth. And that is enough. So the next time someone disrespects you, the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, the next time you are tempted to beg for the bare minimum, pause. Ask yourself, why am I giving my energy here? What would happen if I simply stopped? And then stop. Step back, withdraw, watch how the world shifts when you do. Because here's the truth: your energy is your power. Where you place it determines what grows in your life. When you pour into the wrong places, you feel empty. But when you withdraw from what drains you and reinvest into yourself, you become unstoppable. The power of withdrawing energy is the power of saying, I choose myself even when it hurts. I protect my peace even when I'm tempted to fight. I honor my worth even when others refuse to see it. And that power, that's where your true strength lives. That's where transformation begins. That's how you finally stop living for their approval and start living for your own. So remember this: sometimes silence screams the loudest. Sometimes distance teaches the clearest lessons. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can ever do is withdraw your energy and walk away without a single word. Because the ones who are meant to be in your life will respect it. They will feel it, and they will rise to meet you. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to hold your energy in the first place. Protect it. Withdraw it when necessary. And always give it back to the one who deserves it most. You. There is something powerful about silence, something that words will never be able to compete with. You see, words can be dressed up, manipulated, or spoken with charm. People can say anything: I love you, I'll change, I'll be better. But silence never lies. Silence has a way of revealing truth, of exposing the reality that people try so hard to cover with their words. When you stop speaking, when you stop arguing, when you stop explaining, you take away their ability to hide. Because words can be an act, but silence forces authenticity. It strips everything down to actions, to behavior, to what remains when the noise is gone. How many times have you found yourself in an endless cycle of explaining? You said the same thing over and over, hoping one day they would finally hear you. You thought if you just said it in the right way, if you just showed them enough, they would finally get it. But here's the truth. They already knew. They already heard you. They just didn't care enough to change. That's why silence is so powerful. It exposes this. The moment you stop explaining, you see reality. You see who shows up when you no longer beg. You see who values you without being reminded. You without being reminded. You see who truly wants you there, not because of what you do for them, but because of who you are. Silence is clarity. Because when you're silent, you give people the space to reveal themselves. And they always do. The one who truly cares will notice your absence. They will feel your silence. They will feel your silence. They will step up without being told. But the one who only used you, who only kept you around because you gave and gave and gave and gave, they will disappear the second you stop feeding them. And isn't that what you've needed all along? The truth, not the illusion, not the illusion. Not the potential, not the excuses, but the truth of who they are and how much they really value you. Silence gives you that answer. The thing about silence is that it doesn't fight back, it doesn't chase, it doesn't try to convince. And that in itself is what makes it so loud, Because when you're silent, people are forced to sit with their actions. They are forced to see the emptiness they created. They are forced to realize that the attention they once took for granted is no longer there. And trust me, they feel it. Don't ever think they don't. Don't ever think they don't. Don't ever believe the lie that your silence goes unnoticed. They notice because your energy was powerful, your presence was loud, your effort was undeniable. And when all of that is gone, it leaves a void only you used to fill. Oh. But here's the most important part. Silence doesn't just expose their truth, it also exposes yours. Because when you go quiet, you finally hear yourself. You hear the part of you that's been whispering, this isn't enough. This isn't enough. This isn't what you deserve. This is draining you. You hear the part of you that you silenced while you were busy over-giving, over-explaining, over-pleasing. Silence gives you your own truth back. It reminds you that your worth was never meant to be begged for. It reminds you that love without effort isn't love. It reminds you that you were not put on this earth to convince anyone to see you. Think about it. When was the last time silence gave you the answer you were too afraid to face? When you stopped texting first and they never reached out. When you stopped fixing every argument and they let the relationship die. When you stopped overgiving and they stopped showing up. At first it hurt, yes. But then it revealed the truth. You were the only one holding it together. That truth is painful, but it is necessary. Because it's better to face reality than to live in illusion. And silence is the key that unlocks that reality. People will always reveal themselves in silence. The one who loves you will check in. The one who values you will notice the shift. The one who truly wants you in their life will not let silence grow too long. But the one who only uses your energy will vanish. And they'll move on quickly because they never cared in the first place. And that clarity sets you free. It's not easy to be silent. It's not easy to stop explaining, to stop chasing, to stop fighting for people who should have been fighting for you all along. Silence takes strength. Silence takes patience. Silence takes the courage to face the truth, even when it breaks your heart. But that heartbreak is not the end. It's the beginning. Because after silence exposes the truth, it gives you the freedom to choose differently. To walk away from illusions. To stop lowering your standards, to stop giving your energy where it's not appreciated, and to finally create space for something real. Do you know what's more powerful than telling someone you're done? Being done silently, walking away without a speech, leaving without an argument, just choosing yourself quietly, firmly, completely. That silence will echo louder than any words ever could. Because words can be forgotten, but absence cannot. You have to understand, not every battle is meant to be fought with words. Sometimes the greatest battle you'll ever win is the one you fight in silence, by choosing not to engage, not to explain, not to give them another piece of your energy. Because your silence isn't empty, it's full of self-respect. And that is what exposes the deepest truth. Silence shows who respects your boundaries and who only wanted to cross them. Silence shows who values your presence and who only wanted your effort. Silence shows you that the love you were begging for was never there in the first place. But silence also shows you something else. It shows you. It shows you how much peace you gain when you no longer fight for people who don't fight for you. It shows you how much stronger you are when you no longer beg. It shows you that your worth has never been tied to how loud you shout. It has always lived in the quiet knowing of who you are. So the next time you feel yourself getting caught in that cycle of arguments, explanations, and overgiving, pause. Stop. Choose silence. Let them show you who they are without your energy keeping the connection alive. Let silence do what words never could. Reveal the truth. Reveal the truth! Because silence doesn't lie. Silence doesn't pretend. Silence doesn't manipulate. Silence simply exposes. And though it may hurt in the moment, that truth will always set you free. Remember this. Your silence is not weakness. Your silence is not avoidance. Your silence is your strength. Because when you are silent, you are not ignoring the truth. You are allowing it to reveal itself. And when it does, when the truth finally comes to the surface, you'll understand why silence will always be the loudest answer you can give. So protect your peace. Withdraw your words when they no longer matter. Save your explanations for people who actually care to understand. And trust that silence will do the work for you. Because in the end, silence always exposes truth. And truth is the foundation of freedom. There will come a time in your life when you realize that not every battle deserves your words. Not every insult requires your defense. Not every lie needs to be corrected. There comes a time when you understand that the most powerful response you can ever give is no response at all. Because silence is self-respect. You see, the world will constantly try to pull you into noise. People will provoke you. They will misunderstand you. They will misrepresent you. And your first instinct will always be to explain yourself, to defend your character, to prove your worth. But the truth is this. The moment you feel the need to prove yourself to someone, you've already handed them your power. Respecting yourself means knowing when to walk away from the noise. It means knowing when to protect your energy. It means understanding that not everyone deserves access to your words, your emotions, or your presence. And silence, that sacred silence, is the boundary that guards your dignity. Think about the times you've argued endlessly with someone who already made up their mind about you. Did it change anything? Did they suddenly respect you more after hearing your explanation? Or did you walk away feeling drained, unheard, and frustrated? That's because words don't change someone who isn't willing to listen. But silence changes everything. When you refuse to argue, when you stop explaining, when you choose to remain silent, you send a message far louder than words. I respect myself too much to lower myself to this level. You're saying, my peace matters more than your chaos. My dignity matters more than being right. My self-respect matters more than proving a point. And that, right there, is true strength. Because anyone can scream, anyone can argue, anyone can throw words around. But it takes discipline, it takes self-control. Silence is not weakness, it is power. Silence is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Silence is not defeat, it is mastery. Because the one who controls themselves controls the room. And the one who respects themselves enough to remain silent holds the real authority. There's a reason why silence makes people uncomfortable. It leaves them alone with themselves. It forces them to sit with their actions, their words, their choices. Silence does what shouting never can. It turns the mirror back on them. And here's the truth. When you respect yourself enough to be silent, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing to be understood by everyone. You stop craving approval from those who will never give it. And you finally step into the freedom of knowing that your worth doesn't need to be explained. Explained. Self-respect is walking away instead of arguing. Think about how many times silence could have saved you. That moment you wrote a long message, explaining everything, pouring your heart out, only to be met with indifference. That moment you defended yourself in an argument, only to be twisted and misunderstood. That moment you fought to be heard, but the other person had already decided not to listen. What if, instead of giving away your words, you gave them your silence? Silence protects you. It protects your peace, your dignity, your energy. It draws a line that says, I will not fight to prove myself. I will not beg to be respected. I will not lower myself to match your chaos. Because here's the thing, self-respect is not loud. It's not dramatic. It doesn't need an audience. Self-respect is quiet, steady, unwavering. And silence is its most powerful expression. When you start choosing silence, you'll notice something. People will reveal themselves very quickly. The ones who respect you will respect your silence. They will feel it, understand it, and honor it. The ones who don't, they'll be angered by it, frustrated by it, desperate and to pull you back into the chaos. And that's your answer. That's the truth being revealed. Silence is the filter. It shows you who is meant to be in your life and who isn't. It shows you who respects you and who only wanted to control you. It shows you who can sit in peace with you and who cannot handle losing the upper hand. And the most importantly, silence shows you you. You. It shows you how strong you really are when you don't react. It shows you how powerful you are when you remain calm. It shows you how much you've grown when you choose self-respect over self-destruction. You see, the old version of you probably fought back at everything. You probably wasted your words on people who weren't listening. You probably explained yourself to people who already knew the truth but chose to ignore it. But the healed version of you, the wiser version of you, the self-respecting version of you, she doesn't waste her breath anymore. She doesn't fight battles that don't matter. She doesn't pour energy where it's not valued. She chooses silence because silence is her strength. And that is what makes her unstoppable. Because when you stop reacting, you stop being controlled. When you stop arguing, you stop being manipulated. When you stop explaining, you stop being drained. And that freedom, that peace, that respect you give yourself is priceless. So the next time someone disrespects you, the next time someone misunderstands you on purpose, the next time someone tries to pull you into drama, don't give them your words. Don't give them your words. Don't give them your energy. Don't give them your peace. Give them your silence. Let your silence be the boundary. Let your silence be the answer. Let your silence be the proof that you value yourself more than anything they could ever take from you. Because silence doesn't mean you lost. It doesn't mean you lost. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've risen above. It means you've chosen dignity over destruction. It means you've chosen peace over chaos. And that is what true self-respect looks like. Looks like respect yourself enough to remain silent. Respect yourself enough to not always have the last word. Respect yourself enough to know that your worth is not determined by their opinion. Respect yourself enough to walk away without explanation. Because sometimes the loudest say I love myself you will ever speak is silence.